A user spends a 20 Bitcoin output to send 1 Bitcoin to a friend. They forget the change output. 19 Bitcoin, hundreds of thousands of dollars, vanish into a miner's pocket as fee. This is not a bug. It is exactly how Bitcoin fees work. To understand how, we need to start with what a fee actually is. Bitcoin produces one block roughly every 10 minutes. Each block holds a limited amount of data, measured in virtual bytes, where a virtual byte is Bitcoin's unit for transaction size after a weighting adjustment. That makes block space scarce. Pending transactions wait in the mempool, the network's shared queue of unconfirmed transactions. Miners decide which transactions to pull from that mempool into the next block. No protocol rule sets a price. No company sends an invoice. The miner simply picks transactions that maximize their revenue, and everything else keeps waiting. Block space is a scarce resource sold by auction. Think of fees as bids in a real-time auction. When you broadcast a transaction, you are bidding for a slot in the next block. Miners are profit-driven. They scan the mempool and pick the bids that pay them the most. Higher bids confirm sooner. Lower bids wait, sometimes for hours, sometimes forever. There is one exception worth naming. Every block begins with a Coinbase transaction, a special transaction that mints new Bitcoin and pays the miner the block reward. That is the miner's salary. Everything else in the block pays a fee on top. Who actually pays the fee? Every Bitcoin transaction must be signed by whoever controls the inputs being spent. Inputs are unspent outputs from earlier transactions. Without a valid signature, the transaction is invalid. That means the fee cannot be silently added by a receiver, an exchange, or a payment processor. The spender authorizes every Satoshi, including the fee. A Satoshi is 100 millionths of a Bitcoin, the network's smallest unit. So fees are bits. But what exactly are miners bidding on, and how do they compare bids fairly? Consider 2 bags of rice at a market. Bag A costs $10 for 5 pounds. Bag B costs $15 for 10 pounds. At first glance, bag B has the bigger price tag. But what really matters is the price per pound. Bag A works out to $2 per pound, while bag B works out to $1.50 per pound. So bag B is actually the better deal, even though it costs more in total. Miners think the same way about transactions. They don't care about the total fee. They care about the fee rate, measured in Satoshis per virtual byte. Take transaction A, it pays 2,000 Satoshis and occupies 200 virtual bytes. That's a rate of 10 Satoshis per virtual byte. Now transaction B pays 3,000 Satoshis, more in total, but it occupies 500 virtual bytes. That's only 6 Satoshis per virtual byte. So transaction A wins, despite paying less overall. The real metric is the rate, not the raw amount. Fee rates come in multiple units, and mixing them up can be expensive. The common unit is set per virtual byte, written as set per VB. Some tools display set per weight unit, which is roughly 1/4 of set per VB, since 1 virtual byte equals 4 weight units. Others show BTC per kilobyte, an older convention. The very same fee rate of 25 set per VB equals 6.25 set per weight unit, or 0.00025 BTC per kilobyte. Now imagine pasting 25 into a field that expects BTC per kilobyte when you actually meant set per VB. The intended rate was 0.00025 BTC per kilobyte, but you just entered 25, which is 100,000 times larger. That single mistake overpays your fee by a factor of 100,000. The lesson is simple. Always verify the unit before you broadcast. How do you pick a competitive rate? Bitcoin Core ships with a fee estimator. Core the RPC method estimates MAV fee with a target number of blocks. RPC stands for Remote Procedure Call, the interface for talking to your node. Running estimates MAV fee 144 asks, what fee rate is likely to confirm within 144 blocks, roughly 1 day? The node looks at recent transaction arrivals, the rates they paid, and how quickly they confirmed. It returns an estimate, say 25 set per VB. Lower targets like 1 or 2 blocks return higher rates. Longer targets return cheaper ones. Now for the punchline. A Bitcoin transaction has no fee field. The fee is implicit. It equals the sum of the inputs minus the sum of the outputs. Whatever you put in but do not assign to an output, the miner simply takes. Let's first see this working correctly. Your inputs total 20 Bitcoin. Your outputs are 1 Bitcoin going to the recipient and 18.9999 Bitcoin sent back to yourself as a change output. A change output is just a new output that returns the leftover funds to the sender. The fee then equals 20 minus 19.9999, which is 0.0001 Bitcoin. Reasonable. Now the disaster. Same 20 Bitcoin input, but this time only one output of 1 Bitcoin to the recipient. No change output at all. The fee equals 20 minus 1, which is 19 Bitcoin. Handed straight to whichever miner mines the block. The protocol does not check that your fee looks sane. It only enforces that inputs minus outputs equals fee. So every wallet you trust must construct that change output correctly every single time. 3 quick misconceptions to clear. First, Bitcoin does not set a fee like a bank does. There is no posted price. Spenders bid, miners choose. Second, bigger total fee does not guarantee faster confirmation. A small transaction paying a modest fee at a high rate per virtual byte will beat a large transaction paying a bigger absolute fee at a lower rate. Third, there is no fee field in a transaction. The fee is whatever you leave on the table between inputs and outputs. These 3 facts taken together explain the 19 Bitcoin disaster, the auction dynamics of the mempool, and why fee estimation tools exist in the first place. Step back and look at what Bitcoin built. A global permissionless auction running every 10 minutes with no auctioneer, no fee schedule, and no central operator. Spenders bid by leaving satoshis unassigned. Miners sort by revenue per virtual byte. The market clears, the block closes, and the next round begins. The design choices are not arbitrary. Implicit fees keep transactions compact and the rules simple. Spender authorization prevents anyone else from tampering with the bid. Fee rate selection allocates scarce block space to whoever values it most per byte. Understanding fees is understanding how Bitcoin coordinates economic behavior without anyone in charge, and why a forgotten change output is not a glitch, but the system working exactly as designed.